down Main Street. National Art Gallery, huh?
Are you being attacked by
Like a little tea cafe and garden over there. Illegal.
Wat dan? Hij is gekort, wat is van hem?
Hij gaat nou al die andere vogels eten.
He makes himself stole namelijk.
It's a bird. Bit of old man's marbles.
How do you realize? We have Savage drinking along, thirsty again. Yeah. And Magda has run up to the bathroom again for hell knows what reason. A little menu. Real expensive. I can record it, like, what do you
Carry on.
It's the biggest in the world so far. Everything's big in this project. It's been taking the tension since 5 o'clock last night. It's about 65% tension. That's going to increase as we're on air this morning. Probably about 9 o'clock, you'll actually physically start to see this thing moving by its spindle. Now let me bring in the man who I suppose is playing with the biggest Meccano set in the world, aren't you?
That's
Paul
right.
Baxter from British Airways. Are you surprised it's all gone so smoothly? You only started in January, didn't you?
Well, yes. I mean, a lot has happened in a very, very short period of time. If you came here even at the beginning of June, you wouldn't have seen very much on the site. But it was all being built in factories around Europe and in Britain.
The purpose of it is what? To give us our own Eiffel Tower, our own Sydney Opera House, our own Empire State Building. Is it a landmark, is it?
Yes, this is really London's equivalent to the Eiffel Tower. I think most people like to look down on cities. I mean, you look at the number of people who visit the Eiffel Tower, something like 6 million people a year. The Empire State Building, 3 million people a year visit that. And in London, we don't have a high observation point. London's a fascinating city. I mean, the river is a wonderful reference point. I think this will be one of the must-do attractions for overseas visitors and for Londoners as well.
If we show our top shot again from our camera on the roof, let's just have a look at that one more time. Now we can see that it's right here in Jubilee Gardens, but we've also got County Hall, which is now an hotel, right beside us here. And apparently this is coming within 20 inches of that, in fact, within someone's bedroom.
Yes, that's right. The edge of the frame comes within, it's more like 16 inches, and there is somebody...
Of someone's hotel bedroom.
That's right, and there is somebody in that room tonight, so he'll get a surprise when he opens his curtains this morning.
I see 1,600 tons of white metal going
Absolutely.
up. When's it going to be open to the public? When can I buy a ticket and go on it?
It will be operational on December the 31st, because we are planning a special event, and we'll be where we will be looking for winners to ride on the wheel that night. But for the fare-paying public, it's really going to be the first week in January 2000.
I think it's going to cost about £7 for an adult and cheaper for children to ride on this thing.
The price is £7.45, and for a child, £4.95.
Paul, thank you very much. It's a great view. Once you get up there, it will be 25 miles of a panorama. You'll see London as it's never been seen before. It literally will be the biggest wheel in the world. It's happening here, and it's happening this morning. And if you stay with us throughout the morning, hopefully you'll start to see this giant structure moving.
Martin,
okay, thanks very much, Dean Martin.
God,
Yeah, we're returning to the river in a few minutes' time, aren't we?
Oh, just makes my knees go wibbly. The
Yeah.
thought of being able to see
Yeah, fantastic.
25 miles going so high. Ugh.
I tell you what, it's going to be pretty busy around here when that starts operations. In
Oh,
the,
that's true.
Absolutely, 2 million visitors a year around these streets. Ooh.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
Now, just
that's our problem.
what was
Yeah.
your nice little story in the
Yeah,
Times?
just a very quick one in the time.
Monumental event, there it is about to take place. Martin, explain.
Amy, good morning. Big Ben has just started striking. He's on his second bong now, 5 more to go. Good morning, you're joining us here. I suppose you could say this is the biggest Meccano set in the world. Today, quite historic for London. The skyline is going to change forever, or at least for the next 5 years at least. This big structure behind me, the Millennium Wheel, the BA London Eye, is going to rise up. It's going to rise to about 65 degrees, and then over the weekend they'll put a few more nuts and bolts in places, then bring it up perpendicular, fully upright by the middle of next week or so. Now, that has started being lifted already. It started at 5 o'clock last night. They've been taking the tension on big cables onto a huge A-frame up there. That also, by the way, is temporary, but it's also the world's biggest crane at the moment. They've been taking the tension on it, and they're expecting, you can hear it actually, every now and then you can hear things twisting and tweaking and twittering around as it actually takes that strain. Now, we expect it to start moving quite physically, so you can see. Actually, have a look at this. This is the opposition.
Wheel is lifted into position for the Millennium.
He did it for us. Much better than us, isn't he? But no, we're a much smaller audience. But anyway, the big audience here, this will be going up 65 degrees. Stay with us all morning, and hopefully around about 9 o'clock or so, we'll show you it really lifting, and it's going to go up quite slowly at first, but we should be able to show you something moving. It's going to go up around about a foot every 5 minutes or so.
Martin, look for absolutely incredible, Martin. Thanks very much indeed. Now, Martin, you don't let anything happen without telling us, okay?
I'll be straight back to you the minute it does.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Martin on the phone there to... my kids are fascinated by that.
Is he on the phone too?
He'll be on the phone. He'll be on the phone.
will he?
See-
Oh, right,
See that
okay.
hotline to his wife.
He's on the phone. No, he's
Who
not
was
very
that
happy
woman?
with me at the moment.
No, anyway, we're going to see that wheel being erected. Martin will be there on the scene for that throughout the programme this morning.
Yeah.
Right, here's the news you're waking up to. Penny's got those details. Good morning, Penny.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Doctors at a London hospital are closely monitoring the progress of triplet Ronan Ingram, whose birth has been described as a miracle. He was born a week ago, but unlike his sisters, Ronan grew outside his mother's womb. Well, our reporter Amanda Sargent joins us now from King's College Hospital. Good morning, an amazing tale.
Penny, good morning. It really is a remarkable story. Let me show you the front cover of this morning's Sun newspaper. This is baby Ronan, 7 days old today. He was born here at King's College Hospital in London alongside his sisters, Olivia and Mary. But the birth was very, very dangerous to all three babies and their mum. And the surgeon who delivered Ronan is calling him a little gift from God, and says that his birth truly is miraculous. And just to give you some idea how miraculous it is, the chances are of two babies growing normally in the womb and a third baby growing outside the womb, and all babies surviving and their mum, is something like 1 in 100 million.
Yes, and of course they couldn't give birth normally, could they?
No, indeed. I mean, this was a very difficult, a very dangerous pregnancy, and the story could have been so very different. Ectopic pregnancies do pose a very, very serious risk to the life of the mother and the babies themselves, which makes this pregnancy very much a first. It makes medical history. What happened in this case was that somehow Ronan managed to embed himself in the lining at the outside of the womb. He developed his own blood supply, and a protective sac, like a womb itself, formed over him, and so he was able to grow and develop as a normal baby, and he's survived.
And they're all doing terribly well, as I understand. Amanda, thank you very much for talking to us this morning. The other main headlines today: President Clinton warns Indonesia.
Stages. An immediate investigation. For the moment, the whole lifting operation has had to be abandoned.
We've always said that we will only lift it when conditions are absolutely perfect throughout. That includes the technical feasibility, and it also includes, of course, the safety aspects.
Was there any risk at all to anybody working out there?
No, there was actually nobody working on the rim at the time, and in fact the cable that did come loose came loose in the centre anyway, so there was nobody anywhere near the cable, and certainly nobody has been injured.
It wasn't the first problem. The control room close by found its laser communication system upset by the many TV satellite dishes drawn up on the south bank. That had already delayed lifting operations by many hours. This is what the wheel should eventually look like. It'll revolve continuously, adults paying £7.45 for a 30-minute ride to get spectacular views from what will be the fourth tallest structure in London. An embarrassing day for all those involved in trying to raise what's bound to be dubbed the Wheel of Misfortune. The painstaking job of shifting it towards its final position won't begin again until next week. Nicholas Owen, ITN, on London's South Bank.
And that's it tonight. Next from ITN is the ITV Nightly News at 11. We're back on Monday. Until then, we leave you with the main images of the day. From all of us here, goodbye.
And as a result of its progress. More from us tomorrow at 1:20. Bye-bye.
People think. And we found here in the United States that though you look at the landscape in the Tehachapi Pass, wind turbines may appear to occupy a great deal of land. They use very little of it. And the land can still be used for grazing sheep, or, as in the UK, or grazing cattle here in California. Principal environmental impact from wind turbines are apparent to everyone. It's the loss of visual amenity. It's the view of the wind turbines on the landscape. Some find that more objectionable than others. There are views, I think, of wind turbines here in the Tehachapi Pass that actually would be considered an artistic addition to the landscape. Others may not feel the same. Another impact is the noise from the wind turbines. All wind turbines are audible. They're big machines, they're operating outdoors, and noise may be a problem to some people. A third impact is impact on birds. Sometimes birds may be killed by flying into the turbine or to the tower. There's also an effect from the wind turbines disturbing the nesting or the migrating patterns of birds. We don't see a major problem with wind turbines' impact on avian life in Europe and even here in the United States, though there have been widely publicized reports of problems in the Altamont Pass, which is one of the 3 passes here in California.
But perhaps the most convincing argument is the reduction in carbon dioxide emission that turning to wind would produce.
Well, the wind turbines here in California alone produce enough electricity to offset almost 3 billion or 3,000 million pounds of carbon dioxide. If these wind turbines were offsetting the production of electricity from coal instead of natural gas, it would be nearly 6 billion or 6,000 million pounds of carbon dioxide. So that's a tremendous amount of pollutants that are offset by the wind power plants here in California.
And at 7 to 8 cents per kilowatt hour, compared with 5 cents for conventional sources, wind is beginning to look a very attractive alternative indeed, as the wind is both free and inexhaustible. So why not more wind-driven power stations? Why not indeed? Well, you can't use wind as the only alternative. For one thing, what do you do when there isn't any wind? And for another, the density of air is so low that you need lots and lots of wind turbines to generate significant amounts of electricity. For instance, Wilver Nuclear Power Station is generating 800 megawatts of electrical power as I speak. That's over 100 times more than is being produced by the 24 wind turbines on this wind farm. And what's more, not everyone appreciates wind turbines. There have been protests from some local residents here who claim that these wind turbines are an eyesore and that they don't produce much electricity anyway. So you need to consider the whole basket of alternative energies that are available. And we've been looking at some of them in this program. But in the end, it comes down to this. How much electricity do we really need? And do we continue to rely on conventional energy sources with all their problems, or should we opt for greater use of renewable and environmentally friendly alternatives? The choice is ours.
If you would like a copy of the BBC Learning Zone programme guide, you can telephone the Education Information Line on 08700 100 321. You can also get more information about BBC Learning Zone on CFAX, pages 630 to 636.